TTC fam, we're back with another One Piece theory, and this time we're going over why Sanji is going to betray the Straw Hat crew. Now, I know that some of y'all are already like, bro, what? It's Sanji, right? Like, we love this guy, and I'm like, I don't blame you. We all know and love Sanji. Sanji is him, right? He's the guy that is chivalry incarnate. He's a guy that can cook anything. He's a dude that is arguably number 2, number 3, number 4, however you want to put it, in the Straw Hat crew. No matter where you put him, the dude is powerful. So how is a guy like this, who has gone to war with Luffy, who has, given his body for Luffy, how can he betray the Straw Hats? Well, it's actually pretty obvious, to be honest with you, and it's pretty telling when we go through this video. But if you haven't done so already, before we get into it, click that like button, click subscribe, comment down below. Check out all the other One Piece theories we got going on this channel. My Blackbird one is amazing, I think. Check out the Shanks one that I did. I'm probably going to be redoing it here soon. But yeah, before we do that, click that like button, click subscribe, comment down below. Let's do it. So I think the best way to start this video or go through this video is go through the different reasons why instead of just talking about it all at once. Because when we go through the different segments of why Sanji will do it, we're going to wrap it all together at the end and it'll make total sense at the end. But first, I think the most obvious reason is Sanji's love for women. Now, we know that this is his greatest aspect of him. He will, throw his life on the line for any woman, but also that can be very detrimental. And also, when you look at Sanji, it's kind of like there's no boundaries to it, or there's no rhyme or reason. It's just you are a woman, right? I mean, I'm not gonna lie, if a woman came up to me with a square fro, I'm calling 911, I'm calling the cops, something. There is something wrong with you. You know what I mean? But with Sanji, it's almost like there's no boundaries. It's just, I'm attracted to you, or you are a woman, and all bets are off. Now, going back to it, this can not only be detrimental in, the regular sense of just, hey, look, man, you got to establish boundaries. You can't go full on trusting somebody. But in Sanji's case, it's happened time and time again. With Pudding, he almost lost his entire crew. His crew had to go up against Big Mom, right? And they completely just betrayed Sanji with that. When we look at Sanji even in Dressrosa, when Sanji was going after Viola, who, by the way, I think is the baddest woman in One Piece. I mean, go back and look at her. Perfection, right? Sanji, I don't blame you with this one, right? But when you go back and look at it, she betrayed him too, right? And it's almost like Oda is sprinkling these things throughout the story where Sanji goes after the women who are, at that point in time, the antithesis of the plan or the greatness of the Straw Hat crew. Sit down and look at it, right? Whole Cake Island. The Straw Hat crew was going up against Big Mom's crew. Pudding, right? Sanji fell in love with Pudding. Dressrosa, right before Whole Cake, right? Viola. You can go back through every single arc of One Piece, and Sanji has fallen in love with the woman who was set to betray the Straw Hats, or was set to do something that was the antithesis of the Straw Hats at that time. This is genius writing, but it gets even better when we start diving down into Sanji's life. Not his life at the kitchen, not his life as a chef, not his life under the tenure of the chef, but Sanji before that. Why was Sanji brought into this world? This is a second piece that is really important to why Sanji is going to betray the Straw Hat crew. But before we do that, I want you to see how badly this has gotten with Sanji, and it'll make so much sense when we get to the end of this. Sanji, when Viola has confessed her sins, has told him everything, Sanji then goes and says, even if 1,000,000 people denounced you, I could never doubt a woman's tears. Now, this is super important to this video and to this theory, because that was put in place for a reason. I promise you, that was put in place for a reason. Stick with me. Now, when we think of Sanji's background, a lot of people forget Sanji's family is kind of goated. Do you remember these guys, Germa 66? Well, Germa 66 has a technology that was supposed to rival that of Vegapunk's. Now, the leader of Germa 66, Judge, used to work with Vegapunk. This is very important for this theory as well, because if you are caught up with the anime, you know what's happening with Vegapunk, right? And so therefore, there's no spoilers in this video, guys, right? Is this, if you are caught up in the anime, you know what's happening with Vegapunk. They want to get rid of Vegapunk. We don't know why. but they want to get rid of Vegapunk. But Vegapunk has done so much for technology. Judge has done the same, but he's never been like Vegapunk. But while we go through Germa 66 and what comprises Germa 66, specifically the technology, the parallelism that Oda has done to show us what's truly happening with Germa 66 is genius. But let's read it. So while we're going through these next two slides, I want you guys just to think about what is happening in the anime. And it's going to be like a light bulb in your head when you realize it, all right? So this is a brief synopsis of Germa 66 soldiers. Let's read it. As a fighting squad, the Germa makes extensive and adept use of sophisticated military technology, which they continually improve and develop through engagement warfare. This technology is so advanced that Big Mom of the Four Emperors sought an alliance with the Vinsmokes in order to gain access to their resources. The Vinsmoke siblings, who co-command Germa's forces directly under their father, are also genetically modified humans whose combat prowess and special abilities easily eclipse the limitations of average humans. Furthermore, they have been shown to use combat gear, including shoes that allow them to hover in midair, jump large distances, and boost their kick power. The Army's Supreme Commander also possesses an assortment of weapons powered by electromagnetic energy. Alright, let's keep on. Germa 66 soldiers are known for their endless and tireless training. The clones spend every moment outside of battle in preparation for their next operation. They are also fiercely loyal to their commanders and execute orders without hesitation. They are indeed programmed to obey every order that is given by their superiors, and will not hesitate to throw their lives away to protect a commander, even under trivial circumstances. A soldier will sacrifice himself purely to demonstrate the loyalty of the group. It is likely, however, that Germa 66 forces were not always comprised of clone soldiers, since the cloning technology used to manufacture them is an application of the lineage factor research discovered in relatively recent times by Judge and Vegapunk. Alright, we gotta pause here, because if you guys don't know what's happening in the anime, if you guys haven't caught on with this, it's the most important thing right now in the anime, arguably. Who does that sound like? Sounds like these dudes, the Seraphim, alright? And so since it sounds like the Seraphim, right, you can equate the Seraphim to Sanji's brothers and sisters and Sanji himself. They are the powerhouses, right? But going back to it, they will always obey their superiors' commands, right? Now, we saw that this can sometimes sway and, be a little bit iffy with Sanji's sister and even Sanji himself. But when you look at it, Sanji's sister was still going to save herself and still save face, right? No matter what was going to happen. Now, she could help Sanji, but there was to a certain extent. So she was never truly going against the orders of her father. Now, why does all of this matter, Kami? This is great, but this makes no sense in the long run. How is he going to betray the Straw Hats? Well, let's look at the structure of the world government. And before we look at the structure, let's also just take a quick peek at what happened to Sanji and Wano. He became cyberfied, whatever, I don't know, cyborged, right? It was acknowledged that he is, in fact, not a human. He has some kind of structure, some kind of robotic structure to him, which then, in turn, means he can be controlled, all right? So when we look at the world government and who controls the world government, this is the biggest piece to why Sanji will betray the Straw Hats. It's this woman, Imu. Imu sits on the Iron Throne. I called it the Iron Throne. It's not Game of Thrones, but Imu sits on the empty throne that nobody is supposed to sit on. And Imu has been speculated to be a woman. Going back to it, what if Sanji met the wrong woman that was capable enough to actually do bad against the Straw Hats? We know that, the Straw Hats are going to make their way up to the Five Elders, to Imu at some point in time, because that's where the story's going. So what if Sanji got swayed by the wrong woman? And we know, going back to what Sanji said in Dressrosa with Viola, even if 1,000,000 people are against you, I will still stand for you. Now why does that matter? Because even if 1,000,000 people find out the truth of the world government, trying to find out the truth of Imu, the Void Century, things like that, Sanji would still stand with her. And then the most important piece of this is when you take Imu out of the picture, and when you parallel Germa 66 with the Seraphim and Vegapunk, do you guys remember who's coming to Egghead right now? It's this dude. This dude is one of the 5 elders. And if y'all don't remember, he's the elder, the saint of technology. All right? So look, we don't know what's going to happen in One Piece. I'm not going to go down the spoiler piece of it. We don't know what's going to happen with Vegapunk. But let's just say that they actually do get rid of Vegapunk. Let's say that Vegapunk is no more. Who's going to be the next best step for the government? Germa 66. And then if you look at the technology aspect of it, and if you look at how the Seraphim are actually based off of who can control them, you would actually see that the elders have the highest authority out there. So let's take Vegapunk out of the picture, put Judge right there, right? And then you got the 5 elders. But then you couple that with Sanji's lust and love for women. Sanji is a walking recipe to be the betrayer of the Straw Hats. We just don't know when it's going to happen. But when you look at it, if Imu truly is a woman, and if Imu, which has been speculated to have had some kind of love affair with Joy Boy, if she can seduce a dude like that, if she can be in love with a dude like that, she can have a love affair with a dude like that, you don't think Sanji is going to be plucked? I mean, Sanji could simp for anything, right? And will fight for anything. Lo and behold, a queen, and a powerful, beautiful queen. And then a powerful and beautiful queen who's in charge of technology because she's in charge of the 5 elders, who all she would have to do is give the command of kill the Straw Hats. You got Sanji's heart intertwined already. You got Sanji's technology, who would then be swayed to do that. Sanji would betray the Straw Hats. I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen easily, right? I definitely think it's going to happen. Because I think that something's going to happen with the Straw Hat crew. They've been too chummy. Things have been going too smooth lately. Somebody needs to either die or something needs to happen where it shakes them up, right? And I think Oda has been putting sprinkles into what could possibly happen with that. And it already happened with Nami, right? So what if it actually worked? What if somebody actually did betray the Straw Hats, right? And didn't come back? I think it's going to happen. So this is just a theory, guys. I think there's a lot of, credence to this theory. I think there's a lot to talk about with this theory. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I'll be coming out with more One Piece stuff here soon. But if you haven't done so already, click that like button, click subscribe, comment down below. This is my first One Piece theory that I've done in a while, guys. I was hurt. I was in the emergency room for a while, so I'm so happy to get back here with you guys and check out the reactions that we got on this channel. I just did a JoJo's video. It's getting a lot of good traction, and thank you guys for the 50 subscribers. That means a lot to me. But I think we're just gonna wrap this up here, guys. Kami TTC out. We'll see y'all with the next one.